The other day, I was out with a friend of mine and we went into a second-hand video game store. And he said to me, some of these are quite expensive, aren't they? They're like £60 each. And I said, well, I know exactly what you mean, but, if you think about it, some of these games are like 100 hours long, so really, pay £60, you're actually paying 60p an hour to be entertained, which I think is pretty good value. I mean, you go to the cinema, you pay like £8 for maybe 2 hours of entertainment, you're paying 60p an hour. And if you take it back when you finish, you'll probably get £20 back for it. So really, you're paying like 40p an hour, which is, pretty good value. And that got me thinking about my Roland TD-30 kit, which brand new back in 2012 was £5,779. Now, I think value is an interesting word because it can actually mean two different things. Of course, we've got the monetary value, what it costs us to buy the item, but then we've also got the value that it gives us by either having that product or service. But surely a kit that, adjusted for inflation, would have cost nearly £8,000 today can't really be that good value. Well, I've decided to do some maths and find out. Right, let's keep this quite simple, partly for my sake with the maths, but let's say you bought the kit 10 years ago at £5,779, which is what it retailed at. Now let's divide that by 365 days, giving us £15.83 per day. That's obviously a lot of money. That's if you just threw the kit away at the end of 1 year, which would be insane. But let's divide that by 10, which gives us £1.58 per day. Now that's kind of sounding a bit more reasonable. What's that, £45–50 a month? But it's still quite a lot of money. Now, there's one thing we haven't considered. Well, the kit has some residual value. I would say that this kit today is worth about £2,300 to the right person. Okay, so let's say you paid £57.79 minus £2,300, meaning really it only owes you £3,479. If we divide that by 365, we get £9.53 per day. If we divide that by 10, we actually only get 95p per day. So 95p a day doesn't seem, to me at least, like a lot of money. I probably play this kit for about an hour a day, which means it's less than £1 an hour to play on such a high-end piece of equipment. But to be honest, the monetary side is kind of missing the point as to why I wanted to make this video. So let's talk about some of the value elements that aren't monetary. What does this kit actually give to me, and what did I pay for it? So the first thing about the TD-30 for me is the fact that the pads are quite large and they actually feel fairly similar in terms of spacing if I was to look at this kit from the high tom to the floor tom compared to my Star Classic over here from the high tom to the floor tom. There's probably not a huge difference in that, which means that it feels a lot more like I'm playing an acoustic kit. The other thing is that with some of the lower end electronic kits, you don't get such a nice hi-hat to use. So this one actually is two different cymbals together, and there's a lead connecting them. You can just about see that in there, but it really gives a nice kind of authentic, realistic feel. So the hi-hats. The other function is the cross stick feature. So if I hit this button and then play the rim, I get that sound. And then if I hit the full snare drum, I get that sound. And if I turn that back off, what you get then is a proper rim shot sound. Next, there's the ride cymbal as well, which is actually a 3-zone cymbal. I get a bell, I get the main body of the cymbal, and then I get a kind of crashy sound on the edge, which again, a lot of the cheaper electronic kits don't provide. You also get a choke function as well on all of these, which makes them a lot more realistic. And then there's all the functions on the brain itself. I mean, not to mention all of the many kits that we can use, but we've also got all of the ambient settings and things like that, effects. Let me just show you this one. So we've gone on to ambience there. We can go on to edit, and then we can go on to room, and we've got the different types of room that we can put the kit in and make it sound different. It's really cool. A city, a spiral, all these different ones, concert hall, gate, lots and lots of different things. And then you can go in, you can choose the reverb, you can choose the height of the mics, which is very cool. And you can choose, the different types of microphones that are used, things like that. It's really good. And of course, we can just dial in the ambience on this fader here. We can dial any of it into the faders. I'll do another video to show all of this off another time. Do you think the TD-30 was good value? I mean, I know it's a bit of a stretch thinking about it this way, but if you are buying big ticket items and you're planning to keep them for a long time, I think this is a really good way of working out what they actually mean to you, what they will enable you to do, and also working out the financials as well. Now, what did I pay for this kit? Well, I don't like paying retail for anything, so I didn't buy it new, of course. I bought this last October off eBay, and it owes me around 2,300 quid. Now, why do I say around? Well, I actually paid 2,550 quid for this kit, but it came with quite a few different things, all of which I've sold on. It came with a Roland PM10 drum monitor. It came with a Pearl double bass drum pedal with the case, very nice, never been gigged, and a Pearl snare drum stand. And I can't remember, I think there's a Roland bag as well, that's right, but I'm never going to gig this, so I just sold that on as well. So around £2,300, including the 50 quid of fuel that I used to go and get it from Cardiff in Wales. So I think, for me, good value, and let's bear in mind, if I keep this for 5 years, it's probably still going to be worth 1,500 quid. So really, in 5 years, it's cost me £1,000. Now, the TD-30 is great, but if you want to see my other setup, which is much smaller, much more compact, then check out this video where I talk about my Roland setup for mini, quiet restaurant gigs. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.